This podcast is brought to you by our friends at Alloy Health.
I remember a time where my mom would like straighten my hair and cover my freckles, and my dad had a jerry curl, and like we had to always feel like we had to fit into these spaces, but you can't put a circle in a square. And the time that we were able to be us was when those doors were closed.
Hello, hello. Welcome back to Your Mama's Kitchen. This is the place where we explore how we are shaped as adults by the kitchens that we grow up in as kids. All the stuff that happens there, the food, the nourishment, the arguments, the laughter. I'm Michele Norris, and I'm so excited to introduce you to the person I'm going to talk to today because I love her work and I know that she is so much fun. I'm talking about Michelle Buteau. You know her from seeing her comedy specials, from seeing her on TV. Her Netflix series, Survival of the Thickest, is inspired by her autobiographical book of essays, and it is a truly feel-good series. And I mean feel-good in a deep down in your soul kind of way. She has created characters who learn and love and celebrate their authentic selves. Watching her on screen and listening to her podcast feels like balm for the soul. And I think you're going to realize that in this conversation. Michelle, thank you so much for being with us.
Oh my God, that was like wedding speech night. I feel from
like
the
to butter
rooter
people
to the
up.
tutor. Yes, buttered up and ready to go. That is wonderful. Can you talk to my mother-in-law about that? Just kidding.
Oh, I can talk to anybody, girl. I'll do a Calm app for you. Just, I'll read you to bed if you want me to.
I love it. Oh my goodness.
you.
And you have a beautiful name. So let's go.
Yes. Are you? And you're 2 L's though, right?
Yeah, you do have to
Michelle
spell
with
hell in
L's.
my name.
Yeah.
It's just accurate. The accuracy. Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. I'm Michelle with just 1 L. We always begin our episodes with a very simple question. Tell me about your mama's kitchen. But I'm going to back up a little bit because I get a chance to read about our guests. I feel like I know you because your work is so autobiographical, but I've read a big dossier about you. And everything says you're a Jersey girl through and through. What does that mean to be a Jersey girl?
Ooh, there's only like a handful of states, I think, in America that feel like a nationality. And Jersey's one of them. We talk different. We walk different. Everyone's family. And especially family we don't get along with. So, Jersey's just one of those places, where you understand the heat, you understand the temper, you understand the hoagies and the Wawa of it all. And so
the Wawa, if you don't know, Wawa is your 7-Eleven.
Yes, it's very specific to the Northeast. And it's just there's just a culture to Jersey and every part of Jersey, whether it's North Jersey, where Queen Latifah's from, whether it's the Jersey Shore, very popular show. No one's really from the Jersey Shore, but like Wendy Williams, Bruce Springsteen, Central Jersey, Semois, South Jersey, the Smith sisters. I'm just like naming people, but like I'm doing taxes or something. But yeah, I mean, Jersey people, I feel like stand on business,
Okay. All right. Don't step on the sneakers.
You know what time it is? These are new kicks. Don't do it. Some fighting steps.
So was your kitchen growing up a Jersey kitchen?
No, I wish it was. I'd go to my friend's house and they would always have like manicotti and like all the lasagnas and garlic breads and then I also had friends from Afghanistan. And so that, it was a lot of like stewed goat and chicken. And yeah, no, my kitchen was a Caribbean kitchen for sure, where sometimes I just wanted a banana. I didn't want a plantain.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Now it was a Caribbean kitchen because that's where your family's from. Dad's from Haiti.
Yes.
Mom's from Jamaica.
Oh my gosh.
I told you I read the whole dossier.
Oh,
I did my homework.
Oh my God. Pass the dossier. What? Yeah. Dad is from Haiti. Mom is from Jamaica. Funny enough, sorry, I don't mean for my mom to be catching strays, but my dad is a better cook than my mom. I just think people from Haiti are better at everything. It's such a small island. It's such a gifted island. You know, by the time, if you're born and raised in Haiti, by the time you're 5, you speak at least 3 or 4 languages. Creole, French, Spanish, English. And then you also learn how to move in the world knowing everybody else's stuff. So you're going to do the Haitian food and the junjun and all that stuff. And then you're going to do the Spanish food from the DR. And then you're going to like understand what every other island does. And then like essentially European country. And so my dad was a really good cook, but my mom, the thing she does know how to make. Ooh,
Okay.
yes. Good.
So when you said Haitians are better at everything, I just imagined someone from Jamaica. What do they call it? Sucking their gums?
Yeah. What's yours? Kiss their teeth.
What you mean by that? What you mean by that?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I don't like, look, Jamaica, obviously wonderful. True. No, but truly, because, dare I say Jamaica has put the Caribbean on the map. You know?
Yeah.
Anytime somebody,
they step large,
you know, and in charge. And, yeah, it's a beautiful place to be from. The pride, the music, the culture, the jokes, just to find a joke in everything. And that's really, I feel like how I get my comedy is from, you know, my great grandma, my grandma and their spirit, because no matter how much pain you go through, you have to laugh it off and know you can get to the other side. And so that's kind of really what I grew up with.
Yeah. Yeah. My father used to say sometimes you have to laugh to keep from crying.
Yes.
It's medicinal.
Yes.
It keeps you going. So we know that the kitchen has Caribbean flair. Maybe it sounds a little bit Caribbean. The spices speak to that. Can you moved around a little bit when you were young, but can you take me inside the kitchen that you remember most?
Yes, of
and
course.
Describe it for me. What would I see and smell?
Oh my goodness. Okay. So this is before my dad really had high cholesterol, so it was a lot of frying. The smell definitely was allspice.
Okay.
Because I don't really get pimento in other people's homes, but that is a smell that really smells like home. There is like a carefully curated pot of chicken that's about to be cut, but it was like a little axe. And there's just limes everywhere. That was my job to cut the limes because we're going to wash the chicken and soak the chicken in lime juice. And there's one of those, I'm forgetting the word, those things that you mash
mortar
up.
and pestle?
Thank you so much. Come on.
Because you're okay. If we ever are in a room together and we play charades, I got you. Because I saw it. I saw it.
Perfect. You are perfect for me. You are my interpreter because I am so tired. I haven't slept in 6 years and I feel like every day's a panic room for me where I'm just like, help me out. So, yeah, there was little stations of, Scotch bonnet pepper, but if you touch the pepper, you gotta wash your hands. Otherwise,
don't touch your eyes.
Exactly. And then, the spices and then the chicken, and it was soaking and then it would be transferred to something else where you let it marinate for a good while. And I just remember my mom treating every piece of chicken equally. It was slow and steady and she wanted to make sure everything got covered and that like even bits of the skin and the fat was cut off, but bits of the skin were left on for texture. And just every piece was created equally, which sometimes I find myself not doing when I'm in a rush to make dinner.
Do you still soak your chicken in lime?
Yeah.
Talk to me about that, because there's a debate. This comes up over and over again in the conversations that we have. Some people believe that you shouldn't wash your chicken because you're transferring something. Some people believe that you. Okay, all right. So we know what team you're on. Some people believe that you need to soak it in lime or lemon or vinegar, and you have to let it sit for a certain amount of time. Some people soak it in yogurt because it breaks down enzymes. But you do lime. Tell me about the lime, and you still do it today, right?
I do it today. Sometimes I buy the lime juice. My mom doesn't like that. Sometimes I get vinegar. Sometimes it's, apple cider vinegar because I just feel like I could be wrong. I'm no Doogie Howser or Gordon Ramsay, but it kills the germs. And, my dad has pretty much been sick my whole life and like just allergic to stuff. He finds joy in he still finds joy within everything. But I just remember thinking like, we have to keep everything clean, and you don't know how they've treated the chicken before it comes to you. So let's not get sick. But yeah, my mom's got like little plastic gloves, and it's really like she's going to town, like she's going to work, you know? Also, if you're going to clean your meat in your sink, clean your sink. Disinfect your sink afterwards, because then those germs are still there and you're putting your dishes in there.
Or you have the big giant metal bowl that you only use.
100. I have that bowl. It's very exciting. I get upset when people use that bowl for anything else. Don't do that.
Were we raised in the same house? We have some stuff in common here. So wait, let me introduce me to your parents. Let me get to know them a little bit, your mom and your dad, because they sound like they were kind of opposites in some way, and you pulled a little bit from both of them. Your mom is Marie. Tell me about her, and then tell me about your dad.
Oh my goodness. This is what in the group therapy is going on. I didn't know. So my mom.
We're thorough here.
I'm telling you. My mom is born and raised in Jamaica. Her father is from France. He left France. He escaped the war and went down to the Caribbean because he loved the Caribbean. ... But he also named all his kids after kings and queens. And so my mom was born on Bastille Day, and her name is Marie Antoinette.
This is a great story. This is like a Broadway play.
Yes. It's the low rent version of Hamilton. It's off. Way off Broadway. Yeah. And my dad, he's from Kai, and he traveled a bunch before he met my mom. And so, you know, he's like just a real guiding light of like, he always taught me to never work for a thank you, just leave with a you're welcome. So, you know, he started before there was affirmative action. It was, yes. Okay, you ran out of paper. Tell Papa and close the door, please. I'm working. I love you.
Oh, who's that cutie pie?
It's my daughter. I didn't know that school was off today.
That's okay. I love that introduction. It was so sweet. And we got to hear your mommy voice.
Oh, no, not the mommy voice.
We did.
Because I know it can go south real quick. So
Yeah,
I was like,
but we heard the soft mommy voice.
You know, you got to start somewhere.
Well, before one of your twins walked in, you said something that I think bears repeating, that your father said, don't work for a thank you, but be happy
Leave
if you
with
get...
a you're welcome.
Say that one more time, because I want to remember that.
Don't work for a thank you. Just leave with a you're welcome.
Okay. All
yeah.
Right. And what did he mean by that?
I think he definitely meant, what is that saying about don't ask for permission? I don't know. A lot
of things
times,
on your own terms, like don't do it because you're expecting affirmation or gratitude.
100%. There's a lot of times
that I get.
I would do stuff and I'm like, nobody acknowledged this, and no one said so-and-so, and no one told me that it was a good job. And he was like, that's not their job. Your job is to do a good job, you know? And so he was really big on be the best version of yourself. You're only in competition with yourself. Don't look at somebody else's paper. And it lived in his food and his music and his dancing and his parties and his corporate America, you know.
Your house sounds like it was a lot of fun.
It was.
Music, great food.
Yeah.
Parents who loved each other, parents who adored their only child, Michelle. And it sounds like your house was a little bit different than a lot of the other houses in the neighborhood, that you were kind of always an outlier. Is that something that you use in your life as an actor and a comedian, because you could venture into other worlds and sort of observe and explore other cultures?
Yeah, 100%. It was such a gift. I couldn't see it at the time. You don't know, you know, why are my lunches all stinky? Why do I have a fork and everyone has a cool sandwich? How come I can't have a pizza party? You know, these kids don't like jerk chicken. They don't think it's fun.
Oh, they'll spend the rest of their life trying to chase jerk chicken, though. So.
You know what I mean? Now, you know, like everybody else has a DJ. How come I have steel drums? And now I'm like, this is so cool. This is, you know, after hosting Barbecue Showdown on Netflix, I'm like, oh, these recipes are a way to pass on memories and honor your ancestors and moments through food and music and dance. It's the culture that we can still do, even if a lot of Caribbean Americans, Haitian Americans feel bad that they don't speak Creole, right? And, my dad was from the time of assimilate, don't tell anybody where you're from. They don't have to know your business. Just what are my grades doing? What kind of car am I driving? Don't worry about it. Mind your business. And so, yeah, I mean, this is such a joyful time to grow up. I mean, albeit with the current administration, that we get to really do a deep dive in our culture and be unapologetic for how spicy and loud and fun. We get to whip our fans and do our line dancing unapologetically. We get to take over the Super Bowl halftime show. And if people don't understand it, then it wasn't for them. And so it is so inspiring, and I'm so energized by it because, I remember a time where my mom would straighten my hair and cover my freckles, and my dad had a jerry curl, and we had to always feel like we had to fit into these spaces, but you can't put a circle in a square. And the time that we were able to be us was when those doors were closed, and the music is loud, and that song is on repeat. My dad, if he liked a song, that whole cassette tape was that one song because it was before you could hit the repeat button on something, right? And
so you just recorded the song over and over and over again.
Yes. So you better like the song. And if you don't like it, you're going to end up liking it because it's burning your brain. And yeah, it's funny when I think about my parents in the kitchen, it's very similar to my husband and I because, my dad was hard. He did the proteins. He did the stews. And then, my mom would do the sides for a party. And now my husband and I do the same thing where the proteins are his thing. And I call myself the side piece because I'm out here whipping them up. And so dancing.
And your husband is also, you're cross-cultural in your household also because your husband is from Amsterdam.
Yeah, he's from Holland, which is also called the Netherlands. I'm pick a name. Nobody cares. Just kidding. But the similarities between, hear me out, Dutch people and Haiti are kind of similar in that most people don't know how to speak Creole unless you are from Haiti.
Okay. Because I was going, I would never compare
I know.
The Netherlands and Haiti. I was like, okay, I'm just, I'm holding on.
Wait for it now. I got a point. You're not going to know Creole unless you know Haiti. You're not going to know Dutch unless you know Holland.
Okay.
Period.
All right.
So there's also a thing to them learning a lot of languages because a lot of people don't speak theirs.
But when you were growing up, did they speak to you in French or patois?
My dad spoke to me in Creole.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom was like, her language is delayed. Can we start speaking English?
Mm-hmm.
My dad, I was just saying today, my dad, it was always music from other countries that he would travel to. So we grew up listening to all types of music.
And he traveled a lot. He was an international auditor. Is that correct?
Oh my God. Why didn't you know more about me than my friend? Ooh, you got 10 out of 10, honey. This is 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, international auditor. Spoke a lot of languages. Loved music. And also my love of music, I think, is because of him and dance. And yeah, I mean, it was very interesting for them looking back on it now, raising a kid in the 70s and 80s. They definitely wanted me to assimilate and get a piece of the American pie.
Mm-hmm.
And so they wanted me to walk, but I was like, oh no, baby, I'm going to start running because this is awesome. They couldn't understand stand-up when it first happened. They just couldn't understand. They were like, you're going to have another job, right? This is a hobby, sort of like knitting. They couldn't understand, but I'm like, I am me because of you. So get on board. Because when I think about everything it takes to pack up and leave everyone and everything you know, and not even know that you could have a better life, just believe you will, is a pretty strong spirit.
Cooking is not just about feeding the body. It's about feeding the soul, the sizzle of onions in a pan, the smell of fresh baked bread. These small moments hold so much joy and meaning. Food ties us to our past. It grounds us in the present. It brings people together in such a lovely way. It's a theme that we return to time after time here at Your Mama's Kitchen. Well, midlife brings profound transitions. Our bodies change, our responsibilities shift, and suddenly the things that we once prioritized, sometimes they no longer serve us. This is when women begin redefining balance, not just as perfection, but as a conscious choice to honor their own needs. And that shift, it's not just practical. It's one of the most powerful acts of self-love that we can embrace. That's why I'm proud to highlight Alloy. Alloy Health is a trusted resource for women navigating midlife with science-based, compassionate care. Their specialists offer customized treatment plans for menopause symptoms, supporting everything from metabolism to skin vitality so you can feel your best every single day. With Alloy, you're not just managing your symptoms, you're reclaiming your energy and reclaiming your confidence so you can keep creating, sharing, and enjoying life's most flavorful moments. If that sounds like the kind of care and community that you have been looking for, then you need to visit myalloy.com and make sure you use the code KITCHEN when you do to get $20 off your first order.
We all know that food waste is bad for the planet, but that doesn't mean we're ready to start a compost pile or we're okay with having a smelly fruit fly condo compost pail on the counter. That's why I am so into the Mill Food Recycler. The whole idea is to make keeping food out of the trash as easy as dropping it into the trash. I just add my scraps, and I mean like almost anything. I mean anything from chicken wing bones to avocado pits to cantaloupe rinds, and Mill runs automatically while I sleep. I can keep filling it for weeks, and it never smells. What really surprises me is the peace of mind. I used to feel guilty every time I tossed out wilted spinach or half-eaten leftovers. Now I just drop them into the bin, open the lid, drop them in, and I know that they're going to a better place. You can use the grounds in your garden or feed them to your chickens, but me, I have Mill get them to small farms for me so farmers can grow more food. You just send those grounds off to farms in little boxes that Mill can provide, and they will turn that back into real food for real animals. That's such a good feeling. It's a full circle moment that I didn't know that I needed. You can have your own full circle moment. Try Mill risk-free and get $75 off at mill.com/YMK podcast. That's mill.com/YMK podcast.
It's interesting when we think about kitchens, they're a little bit different now because we're often on our devices in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And maybe there were TVs in the kitchen, but they were small. But now there's like a TV going off and all the time in the kitchen.
Oh, it was the 13-inch for the kitchen.
But it used to be that little TV. And because I, dove into your life and read so much about you, I did read this story, and you don't have to tell the whole thing, but I think it speaks to the closeness of the kitchen. There's a story that you tell in Survival of the Thickest, the book, not the TV series, where you're talking about breaking up with a high school boyfriend, which is always, traumatic.
Yeah.
And because you couldn't just walk outside or walk into your bedroom with a little device that we now all carry in our pockets.
Yeah.
There was one like princess phone on the wall, usually in the kitchen, right? And you're trying to, like when we talked to Michelle Obama, she talked about how she would, that long line that she and her brother Craig would take it and try to tiptoe and stretch it all the way and take it into the bathroom so they could have some privacy. So you're trying to have this like, emotional conversation with someone whose relationship is ending. Your relationship with them is ending. And your parents are right there.
I know.
And, instead of walking away and giving you space, it sounds like they were listening
they're in it. They're in it. Yeah. They're still in it. Yeah. And now that I'm a parent, I'm like, yeah, get me in there. I mean, I'm not going to read diaries because that's crazy. But yeah, they were in it. And also, my dad was trying to help me understand men.
Mm-hmm.
Boys.
Was he like pantomiming? Say this.
No. No.
Or was he just listening and you were trying to ignore each other?
Yeah.
But you were both aware of each other.
Yeah. And he also was very asthmatic. And so he always got a little too asthmatic when he was being nosy. You know, it was like a very well-timed inhaler moment.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, okay, I see what's happening here, you know? But I'm glad for it, because if I can't talk to my parents, who am I going to talk to? I'm the only child.
Yeah, but I'm imagining he was also trying to say, through all of his mental energy, know your worth.
Yeah.
Know that, whatever happens, it's his loss.
Yeah.
There will be another day and another person. And he was trying to probably smother you with all good things, even though he was trying to be, I don't know what he was trying to be, but I imagine as someone who clearly adores you, that he was trying to send you all kinds of good emotional energy.
Yeah, it's interesting. He was I think a lot of Caribbean American kids will understand when I say this. Like, even though your parents are together, there's always like a celebration of body and perhaps a wondering eye. And so he knew things. I have lots of uncles. I have lots of nuclear families in my family, and I also have a lot of side families. And so, there's no way that we can't talk about it, because especially when we're introducing people that don't look like us, but we're family, half brothers and sisters and second cousins and such. And so, when that is, your base as a family, and, my parents decided to have me, they were like, we're going to have one or two so we can afford everything. And they know who their parents are. And we're here, then, he was definitely coming from a place of like, good for you, girl. Cause you know what could happen too if you stayed? So and so and so. And that's just me. Like, that's my voice in my head. My dad doesn't sound like that.
But it's another way of saying if things, when someone tells you who they are, believe them. Yes. If they're showing you that they're not the right person, don't force that. Understand what they're trying to say to you.
And then some women in my family would be like, but he's good stock, but his family is nice and he's going to school and so and so. And that's why I put that story in season 1 of my show, the Will She Won't She, with Mavis and Jacques.
And I love the way that you in the show, you have this internal, external conversation with yourself. Like, we're hearing you literally think out loud. I want to spend some time talking to you about your career. As an actor, you are a scene stealer.
Oh, thank you.
No matter how much time you spend on screen, the camera belongs to you when you're there. So in films like Isn't It Romantic and Always Be My Maybe and the hit comedy Babes, you're always sort of taking the camera. And in the comedies that you do where you're centered in the camera, you're so vulnerable in sharing all aspects of your story. You talked about comedy, and your parents didn't understand it. How did you find, because comedy's hard. It's a hard road, even harder than acting probably. How did you find your confidence to become a comedian?
I think it goes back to what you were saying, to be honest, like having parents with accents from different countries. And I am the only child. And not only am I Jamaican and Haitian, people are already, I felt like I did have to be like the Barack Obama at like the lunch table in 8th grade. I had to teach people about colonialism and, that there are light-skinned so-and-sos. And I went to a lot of different schools growing up. And so I really had to figure out how to just like lead with a handshake, whether I was like 14 or 16 or like even 10. And so like, and I really do love to be joyful. I love to be happy, like I'm even going to start laughing when I'm crying because I'm like, this is ridiculous, but it is important to feel your feelings. But my reset button is always just like, okay, let's get up and get out of this. And, that kind of served me not only in, the TV news space, but comedy, because every show you have to introduce yourself to people, whether they know you or not.
you'd written about some of this, and I'd also, read a lot about you and a lot that's been written about you, and discovered that actually we had something in common. That you at one point were working in journalism, and you were working the overnight shift in journalism, which is early in my career. I also worked the overnight shift for a local television station, and and that takes it's a special tribe, that's there in the middle of the night, listening to police dispatches and sending people, and you were there at this seminal moment in America. You were working there during 9/11 in New York City, and that was an epiphany for you. Like, if I'm going to do this, I better do this.
Yeah. September 11th, I was sitting in my edit bay, fresh off of an overnight, leaning into the day, everyone's trying to process what happened. And also we were trying to figure out, we're in Rockefeller Center. Are we next? A lot of days I don't remember, but I remember almost every second of that day. There was like a time, like 3 hours that I blacked out sort of, but it was such a long day that I remember everything. And it was so crazy. And yeah, I just remember thinking, life has changed forever. This is going to be my life. How am I supposed to edit around the last moment of many people's lives? And I remember my news director was like, stay at your own risk or leave at your own will. And we're also looking into therapy for you guys. And I was like, I don't need therapy. I'm going to start stand up because a lot of people tell me I'm funny. I was in my 20s. I was working long days also for free food. I was just out here. But the reason why my coworkers thought I was funny is because an edit bay is a very dark room and it's a safe space. And so I didn't necessarily have the confidence in every space, but I had it like with my friends. And then these writers became my friends because we were in a very intimate space together, being like, 4 seconds of this house fire. Okay, great. And then they're like, you're so funny. I'm like, shut up. And then like, I became more myself in different groups of people until I finally found stand up, and I had to like really dig down and be myself for stage, because that's the only thing that kind of worked. Not me acting to be somebody else, this idea of a stand-up comedian is like, that's so crazy. It has to be you. And so the more I did that, the more I did me, the more I was confident. And so it's so wild because it did take a couple of decades, but I felt healed and was successful at the same time. So I'm just like, there's no turning back. You can't tell me anything. I'm out here. And anything you do want to tell me, that feels like that's on you, boo-boo. So maybe you work on yourself and come to me, and then we could talk about it when we're over that hump.
Sounds like Jersey came in very...
Jersey comes in when I get excited.
It was but also Jersey was very useful when you were trying to figure out how to navigate the world of comedy. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even like to send food back at a restaurant, but you have to fight for your space in comedy. You can show up and you have the sweet spot. You're going to go third. Somebody comes and knocks you over and, they're like, we're going to put him in the sweet spot and not you. And then you go during the check spot and you have to be like, that's not fair. Or I didn't say that. I was like, okay, I'll take it, because Will Sylvans, a very hilarious Haitian comedian, told me, once you get good in a room, go to the rooms that are really hard. And then you'll get better. Yes. And so I thought that, and then the same thing in the spot in a show. Like, if nobody wants the check spot, and the check spot is when, the club gives you the checks and everyone's paying their checks and looking at their overpriced drinks and don't want to pay attention to you. And so I'm like, bet I'm going to rise to the challenge and I'll do the check spot. And I was like, this is very good for me, because you should be able to put me anywhere in a show and I'm going to kill. I'm going to be able to be hard to follow.
You just taught me something. The check spot. So that's the moment where people are checking their bills and you have to be extra good to pull their attention away from the bill that they got that was maybe more expensive than they expected. And so you have to really kill.
Yes.
In order to get them to lift their heads up.
It's kind of like the Showtime at the Apollo spot. Like, you have to do a comedy set in Port Authority, like the busiest train station, And, and if you get a chuckle, then you're doing your job.
Okay.
If you get 2 laughs, you all right. And if you get everybody on board, it's like, fly, little birdie, fly.
When did you know that there was no going back?
The first time I did it.
Really?
Yeah.
The first time you did it? Wow.
September 14th, 2001. I was like, this is too good. I'm excited about this. Because I wanted to be a journalist and, I wanted to be an entertainment reporter. And everyone kept saying I was too big. I was too fat. I was not this. Nobody knows what I am. I look crazy. I look different. Straighten my hair, get some hair. It was just like, I did not like any job where people had too many opinions about what I look like. So I was like, society already does that. Like, what? And I knew that I would never be enough for that. And that would tear me down. And I was like, comedy is where it's at. I could do what I want to do and say what I want to say. And that's like really the first time I think I tickled my creator bone.
This is so interesting because September 14th, I mean, we were raw at that moment.
Yeah, we were.
As a country, we were. And I've actually talked to comedians about that. A lot of them didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
It was really difficult. The writers' rooms were flummoxed. They weren't sure. And that's where you found your stride. That is so interesting.
Yeah. Pain. It was the Wild West for comedy too, because, it was the time to break out that petty material about the long lines at the pizza shop. You know what I mean? Because we wanted to hear something different. Mm-hmm. But also, those wannabe Daily Show correspondent comedians, The Onion, like they were coming out here with these jokes too, and this is a very Will Sylvance. Get your flowers, Will Sylvance. He's so funny. Please look him up and follow him. He had this great joke because he's got, he says he doesn't have a Haitian accent. He has a speech impediment. I'm like, boy, shush. But he's got this great joke where he says, you could never hijack a plane with a Haitian because the terrorists would be like, this is a hijack. And then the Haitian passenger would be like, hi, Jacques, I'm Jean. How are you? Where are my peanuts?
Oh, no.
Where are my peanuts and my Sprites? And I'm just like, that's what we need,
Yeah.
Like if it's funny, then it's never too soon because, you have to heal.
Yeah. Well, we talked about that from your parents. Your parents said that they laughed to keep it going. My father said sometimes you have to laugh to keep from crying. I mean, people who come from difficult places use humor to propel themselves forward. And I guess that's what we had to do as a country. And that's certainly what you did in your career. So we began talking about your mama's kitchen. You're a mama now. We've seen that. We've seen you exhibit some mama bear energy in this conversation. You've got 2 beautiful children, twins, 1 boy, 1 girl. Mm-hmm. You've been married for a decade? Did I get that right? And I'm not going to try to pronounce your husband's name.
Oh, it's I want to say it's easy, but it's like Khies. Gijs.
That's easy.
Sure. I know. It's like lesson 6 in Duolingo, whatever. Rosetta Stone. I'm like, just the 1 stone. 6-year-old twins, boy-girl twins until they tell me otherwise. We're out here.
And is your kitchen a lot like the kitchen that you grew up in? Where everybody has a station and there's good music and good smells? There is good music.
There are good smells. My husband is the cook. I like to cook. He's a better cook than me. It's kind of annoying. But it's also lovely. Like tonight, he's going to make his bolognese sauce, pasta bolognese, and the kids call it Papa Red Sauce. And the last time he made it, Hazelnut said, Papa, this tastes like love. And so they get it. Hazel's more about the kitchen than Otis. We do.
But wait, she says this tastes like love.
Yeah.
If one of my kids said that to me, I would fall on the floor and kick my feet in the air. I mean, that's just that there's no better compliment than that.
I know. It's insane. My heart is so full. I could fly.
So what does a Tuesday night dinner feel like?
I think Tuesday night dinner feels like either a salmon or a branzino.
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like we probably had pizza or something or pasta over the weekend. Hazel's really curious about it too, and so like she'll help us in the kitchen. She'll help us prep. We'll have her by the stove, not too close. Otis is not into it at all, but he's like a little Gordon Ramsay. He'll talk about the flavor.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. So they're already developing an elevated palate. And I've heard that your husband is into, we now know, thanks to you, that he's into cooking. I'd read that he's into craft cocktails and craft coffee. So do you have a coffee station in your kitchen?
Yes, a big one. A big one. It's Italian. I don't remember the name because I don't remember most words, but that's part of his morning routine. And it's really special because the coffees are so delicious. They're the best coffees I've ever had. And they're also made with love. And it really sucks when I have to go out in the world and try to get a coffee. And it's never as good. It's never as good.
Yeah. Does he make those little hearts in the foam? And is he?
Yes.
Really? Okay. That was kind of a joke, but he really does.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, he does.
Wow.
Yeah. Even when he gives me a glass of water with ice and lemon, the way the lemon is cut and positioned in the cup is so intentional that I have realized is my love language.
You said that you had prided yourself growing up on being the fun house.
Yes, I did. Where did you hear that?
Because you said it. You said that several times. So I know it to be true because you've repeated it.
Yes.
What do you do to make sure that the house that you're growing up in, where you're raising now, Hazel and Otis, is the fun house in the neighborhood that you live in today?
I mean, physically, that you have enough space to do whatever you want to do, whether it's throw a tantrum or play by yourself, mess stuff up. There is an area of the house that is not precious. Do what you have to do. There is an area of the house that is, so don't go there. Emotionally, safe space. See how you feel. We're into feelings. How does this make you feel? Whether it's good or bad, can you name that feeling? If that feeling was a color, what would it be? Asking the questions that I always ask myself, but nobody asked me. Also recognizing anxiety and just being loosey-goosey. I had what I realize now is anxiety growing up. But to me, it always felt like energy. So whether I was getting in trouble for it or not, like I was productive. And so I can tell when my kids are feeling anxious and I'm just like, all right, let's hit these little spots and, do a downward dog or breathe quite quickly, whatever it is. And then it's nice to know that now, and also for my mom, when she's feeling anxious, it's nice that we could all come together and, have a teachable, breathable moment. Cause, we weren't allowed to before we didn't have vocabulary or license. And now I'm like, everyone is going to feel safe and fulfilled. The way I run my household is the way I run my TV set. I don't want you to feel depleted. I've had enough of that in local news, in other TV and film. I want you to feel rejuvenated. And like, I don't want you to feel, God, why do I work in this business? I want you to feel like, oh my God, I can't believe I get to do this. And I want the kids to feel like that when they come home. I can't wait to go home, no matter how old they are. I also want to, a safe space. They also have to be independent, like get out of here at a certain age. You know what I mean? Get out of here. Go live life.
Yeah. We want the house to be fun, but you have an exit visa.
Not too comfy. Yes. That's right.
When you get into adulthood, you will fly.
Yeah.
It must be such a gift to your mother, to see this confident, self-actualized version of you.
Yeah. I think so. I hope so.
What that means for your relationship with her.
Yeah. We talk about it a lot because she's still stuck sometimes. If I show her an outfit and she's like, if you like it. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I was hoping for something more age appropriate. I said, no, not doing that now.
But that's mom speak, yes. Because I lost my mom last year, but I'm
sorry.
But their voices are in your head all the time. And when you said that,
yes.
When you said that, I heard her say, you walk into a room. Oh, honey, are you wearing that?
Yes. You like it?
I have it on.
I bought it.
With shoes and a purse. So, yes, I'm wearing it. I was going to wear it out the door. But it's almost like they can't say, I don't want you to wear that. So they find other ways to
do they?
Gatekeep.
Oh, do they? Yeah. And
but
so
it's often because they have to learn how to see the world through your eyes.
Yes.
Not theirs.
Exactly. I'm going to use that. I felt that. I'm going to use it.
Yeah. And then we have to do the same thing for our kids. We have to let them see the world through their own eyes and not ours. I have loved talking to you. I knew I would. I knew this was going to be just a yummy conversation. And speaking of yummy, we always want to make sure that we give our listeners something delicious toward the end of the conversation. And so we always ask for a recipe, something that means a lot to you, maybe something that you grew up with in your mama's kitchen, something maybe that you make for your kids. And you shared with us a brown stew chicken recipe.
Right.
Tell me about brown stew chicken.
I remember my grandma Mavis, who my character is named after, in Jamaica, having a big, I don't even know what this I don't know what this is made out of. Was it clay? It was silver. I don't know. She had a huge pot in an axe in the backyard of our house in Kingston, Rollington Town.
So you would be sent to Kingston in the summers.
Yes. Chopping up the chicken, washing it, preparing it, and then she'd brown it and take it out and then do the gravy and stuff and put it back in and just let it simmer and just let it sit. And so I have such vivid memories of that. And my mom doing the same and just not missing a step, not missing a beat. Every piece of chicken matters and making sure it's all browned properly. And before I knew how to cook, I'm like, is it burning? What you mean it's brown, but it looks like it's getting to black? And like, I just was like, it's done, it's done. She's like, no, not yet, and just like the timing, the rhythm, like even finding the recipe, she was like, that's not how you do it. Like the recipe is like in your mind, right? And everybody has their own version of it. Sort of like telling a story. Mm-hmm. And so, my mom just made brown stew wings this weekend. And even when she was doing it, I just wanted to be like, is it supposed to go like I couldn't help myself. And she was like, leave me alone before I even said anything or go away from me. And so she browned it. And I was like, is she going to ruin my pot? Still all these dumb thoughts.
You didn't say that out loud though, did you?
No. I said it with my face though. I said it with my face. And it was delicious. And we ate it down, like no crumbs, like kids in it. Husband in it, me, and everybody just loved it. And it was just obviously like a recipe that's in her and then always made with love. And so, when I do it, I always have to tell myself to slow down. This is not hot and fast.
Yeah. You need to have 2 hours.
At least. And I also tell myself that in this business, slow down. You're doing this for the rest of your life. So it's okay. Experience rejection, have things picked up, have things take a while to get greenlit. If you're doing this for the rest of your life, slow down. It's fine. And so that's the parallel.
So you need a big pot, a heavy pot. Chicken thighs are preferable. Just a few tips for people because I road test all the recipes. This is one that I think is really user friendly as long as you have the time. And I think it will be a real crowd pleaser also.
Yes.
Better to use thighs. Because they stand up, I think, a little bit better than a breast.
They can take the heat and they're always moist, especially within the gravy.
Yeah.
Chop them up if you can. It's nice to have a little, I don't know what I'm eating moment. I don't know what part of the animal this is. That's also very like Caribbean stewy.
And there's brown sugar in this, just to give it a little bit of bottom.
Yes. A little donk.
A little donk. Okay. All right. And Scotch bonnet pepper. And there, people do need recipes are interesting because a lot of people cook without the recipe. But for this, I suggest you read the recipe because there are a few things that you're going to want to pay attention to, like removing the seeds from the Scotch bonnet peppers.
Oh my God.
Like you may think that you can handle the Scotch bonnet pepper, but you probably do need to remove the seeds.
Okay. Maybe I was raised different. Who's doing seeds? Hot ones? No,
Okay.
don't do seeds.
Don't do seeds. Take the seeds
You're not a
out.
hero.
Mm-hmm. And a little bit of ginger also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not ginger powder. Get fresh ginger.
Okay. All right. I'm going to try this one. I look forward to it. I really have loved talking to you, Michelle, with 2 L's.
Same.
And
Same.
I hope
We
our
are
paths,
one of one.
yes, I hope our paths cross again at some point, and maybe we can figure out how to cook together in a kitchen or cook up something one way or another.
I
My
would love
very
that.
best to you and your people.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. What in the love and light is going on?
Well, when you meet good people, you hold on to them. So let's hold on to each other.
Perfect. I love that.
Take care. I just love this conversation. It was even better than I expected. And it reminds me of one of my favorite quotes from James Baldwin, the author and very wise man, who once said, "You have to decide who you are and force the world to deal with you and not its idea of you." That's exactly what Michelle Buteau has been doing all of her life, straddling multiple worlds in her kitchen, in her childhood home, in her career, in her neighborhood, and now as a mama herself. And through it all, she's a Jersey girl through and through. And whether it's through her comedy or her acting or her work on stage or her podcast, I just love the way that she lives her life out loud. She sets a wonderful example for how to live joyfully and unapologetically. A reminder that our inbox is always open and you can send an audio or a video of yourself. Tell us about your memories, your thoughts about your own mama's kitchen, maybe some thoughts on some of the episodes you've heard here. And you can send that as a voice memo or video recording to YMK@highergroundproductions.com for a chance for your voice to be heard in one of the future episodes, or maybe for one of the videos to be used on YouTube or on Instagram. If you want to try making the brown stew chicken, make sure to check out the recipe at yourmamaskitchen.com. At the website, you will find all the recipes for all of the episodes, and make sure to check that out. This is one that I can't wait to make at home. For everybody else at home, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being with us this week. Make sure to come back next week and the week after that, because here at Your Mama's Kitchen, we are always serving up something delicious. Until then, be bountiful.